At 68 years old, I'd lived in my home for 43 years. Then my new neighbor Karen moved in next door and decided she wanted my property for her expansion project. She harassed me daily, called code enforcement with false complaints, and even tried to buy my house for pennies on the dollar. When I refused to sell, she escalated to vandalism and threats. She thought I was just a weak old woman who'd cave under pressure. She learned the hard way that I'm a retired civil rights attorney who spent 40 years fighting bullies in court. This is the story of how I destroyed Karen's life legally. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell icon so you never miss revenge stories like this. My name is Evelyn Carter, and I'm 68 years old. I've lived in my home in Portland, Oregon for 43 years. My late husband Thomas and I bought this house in 1981, raised our 2 sons here, and built a lifetime of memories. Thomas died 3 years ago. After his death, I considered moving somewhere smaller, but I couldn't leave this house. Every room held memories of him, of our boys, of our life together. Then Karen Morrison moved in next door. Karen was in her early 40s, divorced with more money than sense. She'd bought the house next to mine 6 months ago and immediately started renovating. Jackhammers at 7 a.m., construction trucks blocking my driveway, debris blown into my yard. I tried to be patient. Renovations are temporary, right? Wrong. One day Karen knocked on my door with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Evelyn, I have a proposition for you. I want to buy your house. It's not for sale. I'll give you $200,000. That's generous." I almost laughed. My house was worth at least $500,000 in the current market. No thank you. Her smile disappeared. "You should reconsider. This neighborhood is changing. You'd be happier somewhere, more appropriate for someone your age. This is my home. I'm not selling." Karen's expression turned cold. "You'll regret this." The next day I woke up to find my garden destroyed. Someone had trampled my flower beds, ripped out my roses, and spray painted "Move Out" on my fence. I called the police. They took a report but said without evidence, there was nothing they could do. I knew it was Karen, but I couldn't prove it. The harassment escalated. Karen started filing complaints with the city. My grass was too long. My fence was unsafe. My tree branches were encroaching on her property. Code enforcement came to inspect. Everything was fine, but the inspections were invasive and stressful. Karen's renovations became unbearable. Construction started at 6 a.m., earlier than legally allowed. Her contractors parked in my driveway. Their equipment damaged my lawn. When I complained, Karen smirked. "Sorry, Evelyn. Renovations are messy. Maybe you should move somewhere quieter." Then she escalated to direct harassment. She'd blast music late at night. She'd let her dog poop in my yard and wouldn't clean it up. She'd have loud parties that lasted until 3 a.m. I called the police each time. They'd tell Karen to quiet down, and she would for a few days. Then it would start again. 3 months into this nightmare, Karen made another offer. "Evelyn, I'll give you $250,000. Final offer. Take it or things get worse." Is that a threat? It's reality. I want this property. I'm expanding my house and I need your lot. You're going to sell eventually. Might as well do it now on decent terms. Get off my property. You're making a mistake, old woman. That night someone slashed my car tires and broke my mailbox. Again, no evidence. Again, the police couldn't help. But Karen had made a critical error. She'd threatened me, and I'd recorded it on my doorbell camera. I'm 68 years old, but I'm not helpless. I spent 40 years as a civil rights attorney. I've fought discrimination cases, housing disputes, and harassment lawsuits. I know the law better than most lawyers half my age. Karen picked the wrong neighbor to bully. I started documenting everything, every noise complaint, every code enforcement visit, every act of vandalism. I installed security cameras covering every angle of my property. Within 2 weeks, I had Karen on video, letting her dog loose in my yard, deliberately instructing her contractors to block my driveway, throwing trash over the fence into my yard, tampering with my outdoor water faucet. I also discovered something interesting about Karen's renovations. She'd been building without proper permits. Her expansion project violated multiple building codes and zoning laws. I filed a complaint with the city. Inspectors came and found numerous violations. Karen was ordered to stop construction immediately and apply for proper permits. She was furious. She confronted me in my driveway. "You did this. You called the city on me. I reported illegal construction. That's every citizen's right. You're going to pay for this." Another threat, recorded on my doorbell camera. Karen retaliated by filing a restraining order against me, claiming I'd been harassing her. The petition was full of lies, that I'd threatened her, vandalized her property, and stalked her. I had to go to court to fight it. Fortunately, I had evidence of her harassment, including the recordings of her threats. The judge dismissed her petition and warned her about filing frivolous legal actions. Karen left the courtroom furious. "This isn't over, old woman." 2 days later, someone broke into my house while I was at the grocery store. They ransacked my bedroom, broke furniture, and spray-painted "Last Warning" on my wall. This time I had evidence. My security camera caught Karen's contractor, a man named Brad, breaking in through my back door. I called the police immediately. They arrested Brad, who quickly confessed that Karen had paid him $2,000 to scare the old lady into selling. Karen was arrested for conspiracy to commit burglary, criminal mischief, and harassment. Her bail was set at $25,000. She posted it immediately. But the criminal charges were just the beginning of her problems. I filed a civil lawsuit against Karen for harassment, vandalism, trespassing, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and attempted extortion. I sued her for $500,000 in damages. My attorney, a former colleague named Marcus Reed, was thrilled to take the case. "Evelyn, this is airtight. You have documentation of months of harassment, video evidence, recorded threats, and she's already facing criminal charges. We're going to destroy her." The civil trial took place 4 months later. Karen's lawyer tried to paint me as a vindictive old woman making up stories, but the evidence spoke for itself. I presented 6 months of documented harassment, video footage of vandalism and trespassing, recordings of threats, police reports, code enforcement records, medical records showing stress-induced health problems. The jury deliberated for 3 hours. They found in my favor on every count. Karen was ordered to pay me $600,000 to $50,000 in damages, more than I'd asked for. "Mrs. Morrison," the judge said, "your behavior toward Mrs. Carter has been reprehensible. You targeted an elderly woman, harassed her relentlessly, and committed multiple crimes in an attempt to force her from her home. I hope this judgment teaches you that bullying has consequences." Karen's criminal trial was scheduled 3 months after the civil verdict. She was facing multiple charges: conspiracy to commit burglary, criminal mischief, harassment, witness intimidation, for threatening me after I testified. The prosecutor presented overwhelming evidence. Karen's contractor, Brad, had already pleaded guilty and testified against her, describing how she'd paid him to break into my house and scare me. Karen took the stand in her own defense. Always a mistake. Under cross-examination, she fell apart. "You wanted Mrs. Carter's property, correct?" "Yes, but..." "And when she refused to sell, you began harassing her?" "I wasn't harassing her. I was just encouraging her to move. By vandalizing her property, filing false complaints, hiring someone to break into her home. That wasn't..." "I didn't." The jury convicted her on all charges. The judge sentenced her to 3 years in county jail with 2 years probation after release. Additionally, the judge issued a permanent restraining order. Karen was forbidden from coming within 500 feet of me or my property for the rest of her life. After Karen was convicted, her financial situation collapsed. The civil judgment forced her to sell her house to pay me. The legal fees from both trials bankrupted her. Her construction project was permanently halted due to code violations. I bought her house at auction for $300,000, 60% of what she'd paid for it just 18 months earlier. Now I own both properties. I've turned Karen's house into a rental property, generating income. And I still live in my home, surrounded by memories of Thomas and our life together. Karen is in jail, broke, and has a criminal record that will follow her for life. When she's released, she'll need to start over with nothing. People sometimes ask if I feel guilty about destroying her life. The answer is no. Karen targeted me because of my age. She thought being 68 made me weak and easy to exploit. She harassed me for months, vandalized my property, threatened me, and hired someone to break into my home. She earned every consequence she received. I'm 68 years old. I'm a retired civil rights attorney. I spent 40 years fighting bullies and protecting people who couldn't protect themselves. Karen just became another bully I defeated, and I'm still living in my home, exactly where I belong.